Hi everyone, so I want to ask you two questions tonight. The first one is, are you a Jeremy Corbyn supporter? Hashtag JC4PM. Do you support his policies? That's the first question. So I'm assuming a lot of you who watch my videos will say yes, we support him. And the second question is, do you want to leave the EU and stop Brexit? Do you want to, remain in the EU and stop Brexit? Because if the answer to the second one is yes, I don't see how the answer to the first question, do you support Jeremy Corbyn, I don't see how that can be yes as well. Let me explain, because I see this a lot with people. A lot of people who support Jeremy Corbyn are also supporting a people's vote and want to remain in the EU. And I don't think these people understand, or maybe I'm confused. But as I see it, those two things are in direct contrast to each other. They're in direct conflict. Because I support Jeremy Corbyn, not because he's a great talker, or not because he's, the most inspiring person in the world, or he's, the most suave and charismatic. He's clearly not. I support Jeremy Corbyn because I support his policies. Now, the fact that he's, I think, a good person, and in my lifetime, I don't think we've had a good person as Prime Minister of our country, that's just a bit of a bonus. I support him because I support his policies. You see, I support his manifesto. His manifesto is exciting because I support a massive investment in the housing development industry in this country to build more affordable housing and to also eliminate homelessness in this country. I support that policy, and I support the fact that he says, I want people to build these homes who are getting paid a living wage and who are not being exploited because they come from an Eastern European country, for instance. I support that. But would the EU allow that to happen? The EU being a rules-based organisation who are always looking for little rules that countries try to put into their laws that may tilt the playing field, tilt the fair playing field, as the EU would put it. Would they allow that to happen? Would they allow that massive investment in cheap, affordable housing? Or would they say it was unfair? I support his policy to take back the transport and utilities industry in this country and to renationalise the railways, for instance. I support his policy to renationalise the water companies. I support his policy to immediately renationalise the Royal Mail. But the EU, if we were to stop in it and Jeremy Corbyn was to become Prime Minister, would they allow that to happen? Or as a rules-based organisation, will they say that that is tilting the fair playing field? I support Labour's policy and Jeremy Corbyn's policy for an abolishment of zero-hour contracts. I think it's basically legalised slavery. Would the EU allow that? Would the EU allow us to abolish zero-hour contracts? These are all questions I don't have the answers for. But I wanted to ask the questions, even so. Now, I support Jeremy Corbyn saying that he wants to clamp down on giant multinational companies, making use of tax avoidance schemes that are in the EU to hide billions of pounds that could go to use in this country and should go fairly to use in this country, but they're hiding it offshore. He wants to stop that from happening. Would the EU stand in his way? It being a rules-based organisation with these rules on a level playing field. And most importantly for me, especially after the video I've just done today, most importantly for me, I support Jeremy Corbyn's policy to support a transition to publicly owned, decentralised to a publicly owned decentralized energy system with a massive investment in green energy in those sectors, to the detriment, I might add, to the detriment of other industries such as the fossil fuel industry, which is heavily subsidised by the UK at the moment, to the point where they'll even hide £11 billion worth of subsidies elsewhere and break what rules we have. But again, will the EU allow that to happen as a rules-based organisation? Or will they say that, no, you'll have to come back with something better than that because that affects the level playing field? Now, you could make the case, I'm sure you can make the case, with all of those policies and other policies that Labour and Jeremy Corbyn have, you could make the case that the EU would definitely make it difficult for him to implement those policies as he wants to and as he's laid out. And if you wanted to go even further, you could make the case that the EU would make it impossible for him to implement those policies that I assume you support if you support Jeremy Corbyn. Therefore, how can people support Jeremy Corbyn but still support stopping in an organisation which many people say is anti-socialist and anti his agenda, and will do everything within their power and with everything within their rules-based organisation to stop him implementing those policies that you support? I don't see how you could hold those two thoughts and those two opinions in your head at the same time as it stands, but I am willing to change my opinion if somebody can shed some light on it, because the more I look into it, the more I see the EU is anti-socialist, the more I see they will make it extremely difficult, if not impossible, for Jeremy Corbyn to implement the policies that I want to see him implement. Therefore, if you want to stop in the EU, why do you support Jeremy Corbyn? And why do you support Jeremy Corbyn if you want to stop in the EU? I really would like somebody to answer that question, because it's confused the hell out of me. If you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and click the bell below so you get a notification of when I drop further videos. Independent voices like mine, I'm sure you're aware by now, are being censored across all social media platforms, so please like and comment on the videos. That really does help the channel out, and share the videos wherever you can to grow the audience. If you can, please support me on Patreon. You can do it for as little as $1 a month. I cannot do this without your help. I rely on your donations. Thanks very much for your support. It really is appreciated. Until next time, peace and take care.